Yeah, I really love industrial right now. I mean, I think that that's kind of, beating a drum that everybody else is already beating, right? I don't think that there's any sort of secret in that, but I do think that industrial is still under tapped, honestly. That could be self-storage, it could be flex space, it could be larger distribution facilities. We have about 1.5 million square feet of industrial in our portfolio, and I still don't even feel like we're utilizing it as much as we can. So we're looking to continue growing that. You know, I see a lot of opportunity in focusing on value add today. I kind of preach to anybody interested in commercial real estate, like, don't go for the cash flow, right? Especially right now. Like, if you're going for cash flow, it's going to be really tough for you to ever find a deal that's going to make any sense. If you're investing for the value add, like the forced appreciation side of things today, that is a sandbox that you really want to be playing in because, one, you can create more equity doing a forced appreciation play in a shorter amount of time than you could create cash flow from an asset in a period of time.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Kesil. Today, I'm joined by someone that I'm looking forward to chatting with, Tyler Cauble, who is a real estate investor focusing on commercial spaces as well as office, retail, industrial, and hotels. So excited to have you here today, Tyler.
Thanks for having me, Michelle. Excited to be diving into this with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's dive in. First off, for those not familiar with you and your work yet, can you share what your main focus is?
Little bit of everything. So I got started in commercial real estate back in 2013 as a broker, left and started my own firm in 2018. And then in 2019, started raising capital, syndicating our own commercial deals. Since then, I've acquired about $75 million worth of assets, mostly industrial and retail, followed by office. I'm finishing up a 350-unit self-storage facility right now. We're finishing up a 48-room boutique hotel. I am not an asset specialist, right? I'm not the multifamily guy. I'm not an office guy. I tend to pick neighborhoods, specialize in those neighborhoods, and then deliver the types of commercial real estate investments that I think would perform best based on that. So, I've got entrepreneurial ADHD. It keeps me entertained getting to work on a variety of assets.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you say like you pick neighborhoods, are these just like towns all across the US, or can you expand on what that process looks like?
Yeah, great question. So I'm based in Nashville, Tennessee. East Nashville and Madison are two neighborhoods within Nashville that we are hyper-focused on at the moment, as well as South Chattanooga. So the overwhelming majority of our assets are in those three neighborhoods, but we are also looking at expanding. Typically what I do is I go in, I analyze the neighborhood. I like the parts of town that are, like I would equate East Nashville to like Williamsburg and Brooklyn or maybe Portland, right? It's very entrepreneurial. It's very artsy. You've got some really cool restaurants and bars, a lot of younger people moving there. And that's where we like to invest because there's a lot of growth in those markets.
Awesome. Makes sense. And what would you say are some main keys that you feel have allowed you to grow your business and run it smoothly?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
I think starting off on the brokerage side of things was really what helped me get to where I am today, because I had to learn from the very beginning what it was like to go out and find an actual deal, right? Off market for clients. See how all of these different investors look at these opportunities, how they underwrite them, how they finance them, how they look at how they're going to pull these deals together. And then, of course, getting to work with them on the management and leasing side. So essentially, I got paid to learn all these different strategies and approaches in commercial real estate before I ever went off to do anything on my own. So just the amount of deals that I saw before I ever started acquiring my own assets really gave me an advantage, I think, in getting started faster because I got paid to learn first.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds like a crucial step. So, how did you kind of move from that phase of your business into deciding to be an investor and scale from there?
Yeah, so I knew that the investment development side of things was where I always wanted to be, and that brokerage was kind of a step getting towards that. It wasn't until, I mean, I did my first development in 2015. So 2 years basically into being in the business, I partnered with the company that I was working for to build 42 townhomes down in Bellevue. Great project. But it wasn't until 2019 when I actually started raising capital and syndicating these deals. And that all came from a mastermind that I went to down in Texas, where I learned how to actually raise capital. When I did my first development, my partners, the company that I worked for, they had all the cash. So I didn't see what it was like to go through raising capital and securing financing. I just assumed, hey, as a broker, I'm going to have to work until I save up enough cash to do my own down payment. But at that mastermind, it totally changed my approach. I realized, like, oh yeah, of course, you can go raise capital from other investors. Here's how you structure it. Here's how you go about doing that the legal right way, right? And because you don't want to mess with the SEC when it comes to taking money from investors. And so that just allowed me to scale so much faster. I mean, we bought our first building in February of 2019. And, I think I was 26 years old. I bought 3 more buildings by the end of that year, office buildings. So we acquired about $4 or $5 million worth of assets that first year, and have been off to the races ever since. But yeah, it was really surrounding myself with the people that were doing exactly what I wanted to be doing that helped kind of spark that journey for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the people that you surround yourself with and the minds that you encounter can absolutely change that trajectory for you. What would you suggest to investors that are early in their journey or looking to just start? Like some advice that maybe you wish you had?
That's a great question. I mean, the advice that I would give to somebody that's just getting started is don't get too greedy on the front end, right? When I was first going for that first townhome deal, I wanted, 20 or 30% equity in it, but I wasn't putting my own cash into it because I didn't have any. I wasn't signing on the debt. And if I did, it probably would have hurt us, right? I didn't have great credit. I was 25, 23, 24. So, they negotiated me down to 10%, which is more than fair. And now looking back on it, like I would take 10% of a deal where I have to, put in the elbow grease, do the, create the sweat equity. but not have to bring any cash or sign of the debt. I mean, that was a sweetheart deal. So for those that are just getting started, just getting your first deal, getting the track record, getting the experience, that is far more valuable than any money that you're going to make on that first deal. So just get the first one done, right? Figure it out. Of course, negotiate as best as you can to get as much of it as you can, but don't die on that hill. Take your 10% and run.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the practice piece is important, like you mentioned.
That's right. Yeah, it's very important. I mean, just getting the reps in, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. And the nice thing about that first deal, especially, when you're first getting started, you can tell your partners, hey, I don't have experience doing this, but I will work my tail off until I figure it out. Right. And so you have a lot more leeway there to maybe make some mistakes or deal with partners that are just more understanding of how that process goes. So get out there and learn as much as you can.
What are some obstacles that you have encountered that now looking back in hindsight, you can see the lesson on?
Yeah, I mean, I've had partners steal a lot of money from me. I lost $400,000 on a deal with a family member because we didn't have it in writing. Now, we're still in a lawsuit, so I can't talk about that too much today. But I trusted an elder family member too much. Fortunately, in the state of Tennessee, if anything in writing, even if it's not a contract, is technically a contract. So we actually have a lot of emails, we have a lot of text messages that establish our partnership. But when I first got into that deal, again, I was 23, 24, right? Pretty young, didn't have the cash to set up a proper operating agreement. And that family member, who was essentially a mentor to me when I was first getting started, said, hey, I'm not going to do an operating agreement. If you want one, you can go out and hire an attorney and you can pay for it. And I had never done anything like that. So now, here we are, however, 10 years later almost in a lawsuit. And it would have been so much easier if I had just had the foresight to get everything in writing and agreed upon in a contract. And so now, I mean, ever since then, I won't do anything if it's not in writing and it's not agreed to ahead of time, because if nothing else, contracts keep an honest man honest, right? So that's also a great piece of advice for those that are first getting started, because when you're looking for your first deal, you're trying to save as much money as you can or not spend as much money as you can. And cutting out those attorney's fees can be a very easy, oh, well, I'll just have ChatGPT do it, or I'll find a contract online that we can use. And, maybe that'll work. I hope it does if that's the route that you have to take. But there's a better chance that it's not going to work out, and then you're going to have to be defending that contract or attacking that contract in court. And that's far less fun and more expensive. I can promise you that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like it's good to be covered in all areas and yeah, make sure that you're set.
That's right.
What are you most focusing on solving or scaling to next in your business?
Right now, it's all about education in commercial real estate. When I first got started back in 2013, there was really not a lot out there. There were a couple of podcasts. I don't think there were any YouTube channels, and there were a few books. But, when I was first getting started, nobody really wanted to help me because they all kind of saw it as competition. And so I always told myself, as soon as I understand more about how this business works, I'm going to go teach everybody else how to do it. And so I got very involved in my local RIA chapters and started teaching commercial real estate there. But it wasn't until 2020, when the pandemic hit, I went from 99% of my time out of office to 100% of my time in office by myself with no deals to work on. that I actually was able to start a YouTube channel, start teaching people how to invest in commercial real estate. And it's been amazing what that has grown into since then. Now we're working on launching this year, really within the next couple of months. This spring of 2026, a university-like platform with continued education credits, uh, educating you on commercial real estate investing, brokerage, development, really everything within this industry. So that's what we're focused on right now. I mean, of course, look, we're still buying commercial real estate. I'm under contract on an $11 million campus right now. We're working on a flex space development down in just outside of Austin, Texas, and of course, trying to acquire one more property as well this year. So for a total of three assets. But that's really how we're focused on growing and scaling right now.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Amazing. Can you expand on the education platform? Like who's kind of your ideal client for what you're building it out for?
Yeah, great. So, it's really for residential real estate investors that are transitioning into commercial real estate. At least the very start of it is, right? Because if we're treating like a true university style curriculum, we have 100 level, 200 level, and 300 level classes. So it gets far more advanced into, deal structure and how to creatively finance deals and stuff like that. But it also starts off on the very basic side of things, how to actually get started, how to go out and find deals, how to, pitch a lender on doing your deals. And, something that was very important for me with this platform was, to make it very affordable and approachable. So each class is going to be under $100 starting off. That's what we're aiming for. So, not only will it be providing the most engaging and interactive type of learning for commercial real estate that really has ever existed, we're making it accessible and affordable to everybody. So that hopefully, the me of 2013 today, right, can get started, start learning commercial real estate. And instead of taking, 5 or 6 years to buy your first property like it did for me, maybe you can do it in one.
Yeah, that's incredible that you're able to give people that roadmap to expand in that way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been great getting to work on it. It's not something that I ever thought that we would be doing, to be honest with you. When I first started the YouTube channel, it was all about, I want to find investors that want to invest in my deals. Let's go out and do that. But then it became, hey, will you consult on my deal, right? Do you have any courses where I could learn more about commercial real estate? Do you have a mastermind? Is there anything else where we can, kind of build community and learn? And so it's been fun just kind of seeing how that has evolved to this point today. I mean, now we have over 200 members in our mastermind. We've sold hundreds of courses on that. And, we'll see where the road takes us this year.
Yeah, that's incredible. And as far as like your own investing journey, what are some types of investments that you are looking to expand into or you're seeing as opportunities for this year?
Yeah, I really love industrial right now. I mean, I think that that's kind of, beating a drum that everybody else is already beating, right? I don't think that there's any sort of secret in that, but I do think that industrial is still under tapped, honestly. That could be self-storage, it could be flex space, it could be larger distribution facilities. We have about 1.5 million square feet of industrial in our portfolio, and I still don't even feel like we're utilizing it as much as we can. So we're looking to continue growing that. I see a lot of opportunity in focusing on value add today. I kind of preach to anybody interested in commercial real estate, like, don't go for the cash flow, right? Especially right now. Like, if you're going for cash flow, it's going to be really tough for you to ever find a deal that's going to make any sense. If you're investing for the value add, like the forced appreciation side of things today, that is a sandbox that you really want to be playing in because, one, you can create more equity doing a forced appreciation play in a shorter amount of time than you could create cash flow from an asset in a long a period of time. I mean, we've had deals where we created as much equity in 2 or 3 years as we would have in 12 to 15 years out of holding an asset, right? So yes, we're not getting cash flow from the assets, but what we do is we increase that equity, increase the value of the property, sell it, and then we 1031 exchange into the cash flow asset. So for example, I mean, one deal that we recently did, and this is stuff that we're always actively looking to do as well, was we took a 1.7 acre piece of dirt. It was zoned for 11 units. We rezoned it to 63 units. Took us about a year to do that. Took us about another year to sell it. We bought it originally for $618,000 and we flipped it in 2 years for $1,575,000, right? So we paid off our debt. We did a 1031 exchange into a self-storage facility, and that will net us about $30K a month. So looking at that, my partner and I initially invested $200,000 each, right? There's no way that we ever could have gotten to a point where we were making $30K a month net if we were investing that $200K for cash flow. But because we took this forced appreciation play, right? Like we put the sweat equity into it first, then we took that equity and 1031 exchanged that into a cash flowing asset. We were able to substantially increase the amount of cash flow that we would get. So that's the strategy I like utilizing today.
Yeah, amazing. Sounds like you guys have really nailed it down and have your process set.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's for sure.
Awesome. You mentioned earlier that you always find like creative ways to make things work. Could you share an example of that?
Sure. Yeah. So back in 2021, we released a project called The Wash here in East Nashville. The way that you look at a project really determines what the potential outcome could be. And this is a great example of it. So this was a 6-bay abandoned car wash, right? Which how many of those have we all driven past in our day-to-day lives? And it was for sale for, I think, $412,000, which if you run the math on it, as a car wash, didn't make any sense. Again, it was run down, it was abandoned, needed all new mechanical systems, needed all new plumbing. The amount of money that you would have to invest into this project to make it make sense, the price point didn't work. So everybody was looking at it as a car wash and saying, oh, well, the money doesn't work. We decided to look at it from a different perspective because it was zoned for general commercial uses. While each bay was 380 square feet, back then, ghost kitchens were all the rave, right? Everybody was talking about ghost kitchens. And so I looked at it and I said, well, what if we converted each of those bays into a ghost kitchen, into a micro restaurant with a storefront, and maybe we had some outdoor seating out there, and called my architect to see if that could be done. And he said, yeah, absolutely. Let's get to work on it. And that $412,000 price point was all of a sudden a steal, right? Because we were able to build 6 restaurants instead of 1 car wash. And so today, I mean, that property has been 100% occupied the entire time that we've had it. We started off with shorter term leases, 1 year, and the rates, by the way, are 3 times market rate for restaurants on a per square foot basis because they're so much smaller. So that's a great example right there, right? Just looking at something differently from how everybody else is looking at it could unlock a totally different approach where you can make something work that nobody else can.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that solution. So cool. Awesome. So before we wrap up here, if somebody wants to reach out, connect, learn more, where can people find you and connect with you?
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. I mean, best thing is to just find me on YouTube. It's just at Tyler Cauble. You can jump in there. I live stream, once or twice a week, depending on the weeks. I'm always answering questions, diving in on that. So if you want to get involved in anything that we're doing, learn more about commercial real estate, just find me on YouTube.
Perfect. Appreciate your time and your story. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Michelle.
Of course. And from the listeners that are tuning in, if you got value, make sure that you have subscribed. We've got more conversations with operators like Tyler who are building real businesses, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.